And our big focus today, it's a big day as far as Karnataka is concerned. Vedant, four big profile candidates will file their nominations today. This includes Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai as well as B.S. Yediyurappa's son, as well as leader of the opposition Siddaramaiah and the former Chief Minister of Karnataka and Turncoat Jagdish Shettar.
That's right. Besides the nominations, though, the BJP National President JP Nadda, along with star campaigner Kicha Sudeep, will visit Shigaon. Now, remember, Shigaon is a very crucial constituency as far as Karnataka is concerned because it's Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai's constituency, and he's expected to hold a mega roadshow there. BJP National President Nadda. Now, this will be his first visit to Karnataka after the BJP announced its candidates for the assembly polls. And now, while it's a big day for Karnataka, there has been a video war as far as, the BJP and the Congress are concerned. While the Karnataka Congress has continued, its aggressive campaign videos titled 40% Sarkar against the ruling government, the BJP also has released a video.
Right. Now, the Karnataka BJP has released a video on social media in an apparent dig at DK Shiv Kumar, the Congress president, with a message that if Congress is voted to power, they'll be in trouble. As far as the progress is concerned, it'll be a corrupt government. That's what the BJP is claiming.
That's right. And there you can see the video war.
40%. ಸರ್ಕಾರ 40% scam.
In other news, Foreign Minister Jaishankar has come down heavily on senior Congress leader Siddaramaiah on Monday evening for his remarks over 31 tribals from Karnataka who are stuck in crisis-hit Sudan.
That's right. The former Chief Minister of Karnataka, in a series of tweets, had alleged government inaction in bringing back the stranded people belonging to a tribal community in the southern state.
His allegations drew a sharp retort from Mr. Jaishankar. It is grossly irresponsible of you to politicize their situation. No electoral goal justifies endangering Indians abroad. Simply appalled at your tweet. Their lives at stake. Don't do politics is what he put out in another tweet denouncing Siddaramaiah's remarks at that.
That's right. The Union Minister had also posted a thread detailing the government's efforts in Sudan, where rival factions of the ruling military regime have been battling for the control of the African nation.
And Siddaramaiah put out this tweet saying, since you are the External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, I have appealed to you for help. If you're busy getting appalled, please point us to the person who can help us bring our people back.
And Shrija, in fact, is now joining us live on the broadcast. Shrija, this sort of Twitter war between Jaishankar and Siddaramaiah. Talk about that and also take us through what is expected today in Karnataka. It's of course a very big day, 4 big nominations. How crucial are they? Also a battle of roadshows today.
Well, firstly, of course, in the poll-bound state of Karnataka, we are looking at how especially leaders are making use of every opportunity, and one that, of course, was of this Sudan case where we understand nearly 31 persons from Karnataka. This is Hakki-Pikki communities, what they call, especially where they had left for Sudan from Karnataka state, basically to sell Ayurvedic products, which they understood has more business there in Sudan. However, were not aware of the current situation. That is what they have communicated to the external ministry. But now we see the leader of the opposition has hit back at the external minister, foreign affairs minister, Mr. Jaishankar, saying that what exactly is the government been doing to bring especially those who are stuck in Sudan, while you have several of them taking to Twitter, posting videos and also images as to what really has been happening and how they are stranded, and that no help has reached them yet. So clearly we see the leader of the opposition, Siddaramaiah, Siddaramaiah took the opportunity, in fact, to hit back at the BJP government and also questioned Mr. Jaishankar as to what exactly the external ministry was doing, and that they have not been exactly paying heed to their pleas and trying to bring them back. But clearly Mr. Jaishankar went on to talk about how not to really play politics here and how several lives were at stake, and that the external ministry were doing everything in their capacity to ensure that they are safe and they can bring them back to the country. Well, then moving on, especially what's really happening here in the state poll-bound state of Karnataka. Yes, like you pointed out, there are 4 big nominations, high-profile ones, and key constituencies that we're talking about. One, of course, is Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai's constituency, Shigaon, and then you have B.Y. Vijayendra, that is son of B.S. Yediyurappa, the former Chief Minister of Karnataka, who will be contesting from Shikaripura. He will also be filing nomination from Shikaripura from his father's constituency, which voted him to power nearly 8 consecutive terms. And then you have Mr. Siddaramaiah, the leader of the opposition, and also former Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, filing nomination from Varna constituency. And also, the big controversial figure in the recent times, of course, has been Mr. Jagdish Shettar, the turncoat who jumped the ship from the BJP to Congress after being denied a ticket. He will also now be contesting on a Congress ticket from the very constituency that, voted him to power consecutively for over 5 terms. So we see Mr. Jagdish Shettar will also be filing a nomination from Hubli Dharwad Central Constituency. But of course, one of the biggest highlights that we're going to see today is going to be a mega roadshow that will be held by Mr. Nadda, the JP Nadda, the BJP's national president, along with the star campaigner Sudeep. This is in Basuraj Bommai's constituency. Well, they will take out on a mega roadshow, and after which Mr. Nadda will address a public rally.
Thank you so much for getting us all those details, Shrija. A very huge day for Karnataka. And of course, before that, we also had those war of tweets between the External Affairs Minister as well as Siddaramaiah. But let's get on with more news now with that.
That's right. Has the time come to legalize same-sex marriages in India? Now, the Supreme Court heard a bunch of petitions seeking legal recognition of same-sex marriages. In a strong remark, the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, said that there is no absolute concept of a man or an absolute concept of a woman at all.
Now, it's not the question of what your genitals are. It's far more complex than that. The centre on the other side has said that it would be better if the matter goes to the Parliament, and says even the Special Marriage Act cites the relationship between a biological man and a biological female. So those are the arguments in court yesterday.
That's right, and it will be continuing today as well. It's expected to be a week-long hearing. And the petitioners demanding legal status to same-sex marriages say that they face the disdain of majority and also discrimination. The hearing will resume today. And Divya, now India's climate emergency. 48 cities have reported a maximum temperature of 42 degrees Celsius or above. The hottest places in the country are Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh, Jharsuguda and Baripara in Odisha, and Hamirpur in Uttar Pradesh, all with a temperature of 44.2 degrees Celsius. That's quite concerning.
That's right, 44.2 degrees in Jharsuguda of Odisha and other places. So the temperature is way beyond what's expected at this time of the year. But we have some respite coming in, especially for the northern part of the country. The temperatures will start to dip now by almost 2 to 3 degrees. They start to normalize, Vedant, and that is because of a western disturbance which is going to bring about wet weather. When we talk about Jammu and Kashmir, heavy showers expected there, as well as Himachal Pradesh, hailstorm expected in Uttarakhand, as well as Punjab, Haryana, as well as Chandigarh. Then when we talk about Delhi, respite there in the form of rain. But in Uttar Pradesh, heatwave conditions will continue for another 24 hours, and after that there'll be respite. So it's not just actually in Uttar Pradesh, but when we talk about other areas as well. So whether it's central parts of the country, the southern part of the country, or even the eastern part of the country, from tomorrow for another 24 hours, the situation will remain the way it is as far as the maximum temperatures are concerned. But thereafter, respite is expected, and the fall in temperatures that we're talking about could be about 2 to 3 degrees in all areas of the country starting tomorrow. But respite already coming in for the northern part of the country, the much needed respite. So as far as heatwave conditions are concerned, in Gangetic West Bengal, Bengal, we've seen that for the last 1 week. Heat wave in coastal Andhra Pradesh since the past 6 days. Heat wave in Bihar that have been continuing for the last 5 days. Punjab and Haryana, that relief coming in after 2 days of heat wave conditions that have been prevailing. When we talk about 42 degrees and above the temperatures, like Vedant mentioned, it's been in about 48 cities. Let's just get you some of the temperatures other than the ones that Vedant mentioned of 44.2 degrees, especially in areas of Odisha. Now we also have Jalgaon at 41.6, Beed at 41.6 as well, Nanded coming in at 40, Navi Mumbai coming in 41.2, Malegaon at 41.2, and we have Mumbai above 37 degrees. But in the northeast also, heatwave conditions have been prevailing. Temperatures up by almost 5 to 6 degrees. The Tripura government has declared heatwave conditions as a state disaster. Schools have also been shut, Vedant, in Tripura.
That's right, Divya. Also, if you could talk about the kind of advisories that have been issued, of course, particularly for children and the elderly. The advisories have been issued across India, saying that even if you're not thirsty, stay hydrated, drink water, because as you mentioned, it's not really confined or isolated to few states. It's really a pan-India thing that we are witnessing, and it's only April and heat wave conditions are already there. So talk a little bit about that, and also in the larger context of a climate emergency.
Absolutely, Vedant, when we take into account like the kind of temperatures that we are seeing already, 5 to 6 degrees above the norm, and like you mentioned, it's April. We were blessed to have an April where the temperatures were pretty good as far as the northern part of the country is concerned. They had stabilized also in central parts of the country, but now the heat wave conditions are here, and they're here with a bang. And of course, we are expecting some sort of relief. And of course, like you mentioned, that even if there is some sort of respite, if the temperature does go down by 2 to 3 degrees, but keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself indoors if you can, as much as you can, and of course, wear light colored clothes. And heat exhaustion and heat strokes is what one should really be wary of and warned of, which basically means you should keep yourself hydrated, keep an umbrella handy, wear light colored clothes, loose clothes, and of course wear cottons as much as possible.
India reeling under severe heat. From Uttar Pradesh to Odisha to West Bengal to Assam. Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh, the hottest in the country at 44.6 degrees. Baripada in Odisha among the hottest, also reeling under heatwave conditions. At 44 degrees, Baripada found itself listed amongst the hottest places in the world by a global weather forecasting site. At the construction sites in the area, no work is happening in the afternoon and schools are shutting at 10 a.m. Officials are setting up heat stroke rooms with ACs or coolers.
All officers of the district have been sensitized, and meetings have been held, and through social media and other mediums we have sensitized people not to come out of their homes unless it is necessary. We have also made our hospitals ready. Every hospital has been provided with one heat stroke room with ACs and coolers.
In Kolkata too, temperatures hovered around 40 degrees. The weather department has issued heat wave warnings and severe heat wave warnings for several cities in West Bengal and several parts of the country as well. There's no relief in sight from high temperatures, and the temperatures are likely to cross 40 degrees in several cities across the country. But what they're looking at is the data, and this year, in the month of April, the number of days that have crossed temperatures of 40 degrees is already on the higher side, and that, weather experts say, is an indication of climate change.
Severe heatwave condition will continue in Bankura and Purulia for today and tomorrow, that is 18th and 19th. And severe heatwave condition also likely to continue West Bardhaman and Birbhum in the second 48 hours.
In Delhi, there is some relief in sight.
Now, while the IMD has predicted some temporary relief in the form of rain between Wednesday and Friday, the situation is a lot likely to get worse in the coming months.
बढ़िया गर्मी पिछली बार से भी इस बार बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी है पिछली बार इस टाइम पे इतनी गर्मी नहीं थी जिस टाइम इस टाइम है गर्मी.
Abnormally high temperatures have been the worst in the northeast. Tripura's capital Agartala was 38 degrees, about 5 degrees above normal. Schools are being shut till April 23rd.
टेम्परेचर बहुत हाई है त्रिपुरा में, और अभी जैसे कि आप देख रहे हैं यहाँ पे जूस के दुकान वगैरह सब में लाइन लगी हुई है.
On Monday, Guwahati and Imphal were 6 degrees above normal.
In the month of April, we have 39, and still June, July, August is left.
The bigger concern has been places like Shillong, like Gangtok, which are recording temperature close to 30 degree. In fact, here you can see these kind of places, there are more people now. And in fact, if we talk about the entire region, some places it has been more than 6 degrees above normal, like in Imphal.
Coastal Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, झारखंड और ये बिहार, इसमें आने वाले 3-4 दिनों में हीट वेव रहने की प्रोबेबिलिटी है। तो जहां आने वाले 2 दिनों में सीवियर हीट वेव की प्रोबेबिलिटी है। इसके राज्यों में ये महत्वपूर्ण है। हाँ जी, ये वेस्ट बंगाल के लिए और बिहार के लिए, और इसके लिए हमने इस राज्यों में आने वाले 4 दिनों के लिए ही हमने ऑरेंज अलर्ट दे रखा है।
Orange alerts and severe heat wave warnings have been issued for isolated pockets over Gangetic West Bengal and Bihar. Heat wave conditions are also likely in isolated pockets over Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Sub-Himalayan West Bengal, Sikkim, Odisha, Jharkhand, coastal Andhra Pradesh and other places, according to the latest weather reports. Experts say India is staring at one of its worst summers this year. An NDTV Bureau report.
And to get more on this, we have Saurabh Gupta joining us from Kolkata. Saurabh, it's the animals also getting affected by the rising temperatures.
Absolutely, I mean, there's all sorts of problems. Everybody's reeling from the heat. In several places, there have been power cuts reported because everybody is switching on the ACs, and therefore, there are lines tripping within buildings. So there are all kinds of heat-related issues. Now, the government has made it clear schools will be shut and has appealed to people not to step out in the afternoons unless absolutely necessary. And that is something that has helped in reducing the crowds in the afternoon. Now, in the morning, it's 9 o'clock and I can feel the heat. It's very, very uncomfortable to even step out of your home. And at this point, really, though the mornings are still bearable, it's the afternoons that get really impossible in terms of the heat. And that's why the weather department is also saying that, look, there's no relief in sight for the next 2 or 3 days. Stay hydrated, keep drinking water. Like you mentioned, Divya, earlier, even if you're not thirsty, keep drinking water. Wear light clothes, cotton clothes, and avoid direct sun as much as possible. Stay in the shade. If you have to go out and if you have to stand somewhere, find a tree, find a tree to stand under, so that you can avoid the direct, sun, because it's really, really getting hot in terms of the temperatures. 40 plus in Kolkata in the month of April is not something is happening for the first time. But the last time that we had so many days of 40 plus temperatures was way back in 2008 or 9, if I'm mistaken, according to the data that we have. So, this is of course, this is the condition, and people are really struggling to cope with the heat. The government has made efforts. Hospitals have been asked to stay alert. We just saw that report where in Odisha, in Baripada, also hospitals have been asked to create specific heat stroke rooms. But all of these measures notwithstanding is indicative of the fact that there are changing weather patterns, and April heat, this kind of heat, is really, really unheard of.
Right, and in fact, Ratnadeep is also joining us. Ratnadeep, across the northeast, temperatures are almost 5 to 6 degrees above normal. Tripura, Meghalaya both have ordered schools to shut. What is the condition right now?
That's right. In fact, across northeast for the past 3 to 4 days, several places have actually reported temperatures which are 5 to 6 degrees above normal. In fact, places like Guwahati, Imphal, Agartala, the most affected seems to be Tripura, where temperatures have hovered between 37 to 39 degrees, and therefore the state government has shut down schools till 23rd. Now the state government has also shut down all the Anganwadi centers, and the food which is given in the Anganwadi centers would be given in the form of dry rations to the doorsteps of people in the area. The state government has also declared this sunstrokes, heat waves and sunburns as state disaster, and therefore in all the districts of the state, emergency response centers, particularly for heat wave, have been opened up. There are quick reaction teams which are deployed to rescue people if people are suffering somewhere, particularly on the streets, and those who don't have a home, those who live on the streets, as well as state government is trying to ensure that there is uninterrupted power supply during this spell. However, in Assam, in the past 24 hours, there has been a bit of respite to the heat. In fact, yesterday the temperatures were, lesser than what it was day before yesterday. And today, in fact, in the morning, as we report from Guwahati, there is kind of a sense that the temperature would not be that high. In fact, at this moment, it's around 33 degrees, and overnight there have been rains as well, which has been a bit of respite for the people. However, in neighboring Garo Hills of Meghalaya, similar situations like Tripura prevails, and therefore in West Garo Hills district, the schools have been shut down. In that area, you have a heat wave type situation. In fact, in Imphal, capital of Manipur, and its adjoining areas, for the past 3 days, temperatures have been at least 6 degrees above normal. So therefore, people in Manipur are also battling this sudden rise in temperatures, and the concerns remains for the hilly areas of northeast, particularly places like Shillong, like Gangtok, Aizawl, which have been reporting 4 to 6 degrees above normal temperatures, and therefore these are the areas where tourists actually go in the summer to seek respite from the heat, and in fact the tourists and the tourism industry is also getting affected in those areas. But overall, across northeast in the past 24 hours, there has been a kind of a decline in temperatures in some areas by at least 1 degree or more, and that has been a bit of respite. And there is a bit of good news from the Met Department as well. IMD has yesterday issued a stress statement saying that by the end of this week there would be rains in several places of northeast, and that should bring down the temperatures. But in many parts of northeast,
right, Ratnadeep, to get more on what we can expect as far as the temperature is concerned, we have Mahesh Palawat of SkyMet joining us. Mahesh Palawat, if you could take us through the kind of relief that one is expecting, especially in the northern part of the country, and thereafter in other parts of the country as well from tomorrow.
Yeah, Divya, you must have seen that from today, winds have changed direction and they are from easterly, and temperatures have already subsided. And there were a strong wind speed, or we can say dust storm and thunder showers over Churu, Bikaner, Sri Ganganagar, Hanumangarh, northwest Rajasthan, and parts of Punjab. Now, the western disturbance is over hills, and it will give rain and thunder shower activities, intense rain and thunder shower activities over hills of western Himalayas. Light to moderate rain maybe at many places over Punjab, parts of Haryana, North Rajasthan, western parts of Uttar Pradesh, and for next 2 to 3 days, there are chances of light rain and thunderstorm over Delhi and NCR. So these areas will get relief, and
what kind of temperature are we talking about, Mahesh? How much will the temperature dip?
They will be around 37 to 38 degree over Delhi and NCR. And many parts may, particularly Punjab and Haryana, may further drop, and there may be some relief over northern parts of Rajasthan as well. But southern parts of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh, most parts of Madhya Pradesh will experience above 40 temperatures. However, there are chances of light thunderstorm and light rain over Vidarbha, parts of Marathwada, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh. And gradually, these weather activities will shift towards eastern parts of the country by 21st of April, and Jharkhand, Bihar, Gangetic West Bengal, Odisha, all these areas which are reeling under heat wave conditions may also get relief from April 21st. Yeah.
Mahesh, how long before the second spell of the heat wave conditions start in many parts of the country?
I'd say it is very difficult to predict as of now, but yes, for until 24th and 25th, the weather will be slightly less than, you can say, the heat wave condition will await from eastern parts of the country until 25th, between 21st and 25th. And by 22nd or 23rd, temperatures will again start increasing over northwest India, right from Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, and western parts of Uttar Pradesh.
Right. Thanks so much, Mahesh, for joining us with all those details. So as Mahesh was pointing out, some respite, much needed respite
coming our way. So, of course, with some kind of thunder showers expected in Rajasthan, and we can expect hailstorm in adjoining areas of Delhi, whether it's Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, as well as parts of Uttar Pradesh. Moving on to more news, Baljeet Kaur, a 27-year-old prominent Indian woman climber, was rescued on Tuesday, a day after she went missing near Camp 4 of Annapurna. This is the Mount Annapurna, while descending from the summit point.
That's right. In fact, another Indian, Anurag Malu, is missing, still missing, after falling into a crevice on Mount Annapurna, the world's 10th highest mountain. Baljeet Kaur, who scaled the world's 10th highest peak without using supplemental oxygen, on Monday.
She was rescued from 7,363 meters after an aerial search for a team that was had located her above Camp 4. So finally, they managed to rescue her. However, still, we have one climber that's missing, and the search continues for that climber, Anurag Malu.
हिमाचल प्रदेश देवभूमि की बेटी बलजीत कौर अन्नपूर्णा पीठ से वापस आते हुए जो घटना घटी, मैं आशा करता हूं कि वह जल्द ही सुरक्षित और स्वस्थ होकर हम सबके बीच में लौटेंगी। उन्होंने बहुत बार हिमाचल प्रदेश और देश का नाम रोशन किया है। प्रभु उनको इतनी शक्ति दे कि वो स्वस्थ और सुरक्षित होकर हम सबके बीच में वापस आए।
An Indian man has sought help in finding his mountaineer brother, who he said fell while descending from Nepal's Mount Annapurna, the 10th highest mountain in the world.
That's right, Ashish Malu, Anurag Malu's brother. He posted for the request for help on change.org, addressed to India's ambassador to Nepal, Naveen Srivastava, and Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar. Mr. Malu said his brother Anurag last week set out to climb Mount Annapurna. Unfortunately, he fell down when he was at an altitude of 6,000 meters while descending on Monday.
Welcome back. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath broke his silence on the murder of dreaded mafia don Atiq Ahmed and said that no mafia criminal can threaten the industrialists in Uttar Pradesh.
That's right. In fact, top legal minds have been battling over this, whether it is instant justice or it is something that is what they call taking law into their own hands. It's something, a long-drawn debate. And the big question is, should instant justice override the rule of law? Hear this chat.
Joining us at this moment, Mr. Jethmalani, thank you for speaking to us here on Breaking Views, sir. I want to start by asking you, Mr. Jethmalani, I saw a tweet today in which you are saying that there is not a shred of evidence that suggests any conspiracy involving the state government or the state police. While the opposition may not have any evidence to back their claim, which sort of or set of evidence do you have, Mr. Jethmalani, which you are privy of some investigation to dismiss these assertions and give a clean sheet completely to the government of Uttar Pradesh and the UP police, sir?
No, I haven't given a clean sheet to anybody. I've just said that those who are alleging that there's a conspiracy, those who are saying that this is an encounter, right? And when you say it's an encounter, it suggests that there's involvement of the state government or the UP police force, right? I'm only saying that they have no evidence. I'm saying that the judicial inquiry which has been appointed by the state government of UP, let's wait for that. I don't have the evidence, but at the moment there is not a shred of evidence to suggest what they have. You should be asking, the onus is on those people who make the allegation.
Mr. Jethmalani, you in your tweet you have at least 2 or 3 times quoted Mr. Kapil Sibal, or at least have asked him certain questions. Let me ask you this, sir. Mr. Sibal raised some questions on the brazen murder and called out the law and order situation in Uttar Pradesh. If the state police, which had the responsibility to protect these criminals going through a judicial process, no matter who they are and what they have done, he tweeted, and I'm reading from his tweet, he said, murders in Uttar Pradesh, Atiq Ahmed and brother Ashraf, and rule of law. How is this, as per you, Mr. Sibal's attempt to portray these brothers as martyrs, sir?
Well, the fact of the matter is they were killed by 3 complete strangers. Nobody knows who they are. There's an investigation going on. How can you portray them as martyrs? I mean, these people are certainly not martyrs. They are major mafiosi. They've killed witnesses in the case. They've killed. Mr. Sibal talks about murder of democracy. These people, Atiq Ahmed is responsible for the killing of an MP who won his seat. When he became an MP, his assembly seat was rendered vacant. And Atiq and his family are involved in the murder of that MLA, Raju Pal. It is Pooja Pal, his wife, who has filed the FIR in which he is involved. and which he's charge sheeted. And by the way, murder of democracy, I'll give you another example. In 2006, the prime witness in this very case in which he has been charge sheeted, the prime witness, Umesh Pal, whom he had killed the other day through his son Assad, that prime witness, who's a lawyer, was kidnapped in 2006 and forced to make a statement again saying that Atiq was not involved. What are we talking about, murder of democracy? This has been going on under the nose of the Samajwadi Party government, which has elected Mr. Kapil Sibal to the Rajya Sabha recently. What has happened to this man's criminal record of 100 FIRs? Who is responsible for all these years? Who was in power in UP up till 2015?
No, but Mr. Jethmalani, does the criminal record of these two men, does it justify in some way the way they have been murdered, sir?
In this country, there are 100 custodial deaths every year, minimum. In the last year, it was 166. What is this selective choice of Mr. Sibal and his cohorts and other supporters in the media and the opposition? Why are you not raising your voice against people more deserving than a mafiosi chief who's a murderer, an extortionist, a kidnapper?
Okay.
And this he's been going on for a long year. He has unleashed a reign of terror in UP. And this is the custodial death. First of all, it's not a custodial death.
Okay.
You have imagined it's a custodial death. We do not know that those three people who assassinated him when he was going to a medical checkup,
right,
what their motivations were.
But sir,
Mr. Atiq Ahmed and his brother had a lot of enemies.
But sir,
he has unleashed a reign of terror, I said.
Does
Any
that
one
mean,
of his terror or murder or kidnapping victims could have done
does
this.
that mean that they should be...
It's too early to jump to conclusions. This is a political surmise made by Mr. Sibal and his ilk.
Okay, but does that mean, Mr. Jethmalani, that no questions should be asked around the circumstances in which this killing has taken place? Mr. Sibal, and I'm quoting another tweet of his, he said he has put out a list of circumstances. 10 p.m., what was the need for a medical checkup at that hour? There was no medical emergency. Victims were made to walk open to media. Assassins were unknown to each other. Weapons above 7 lakh rupees. All three surrendered. The police did not retaliate. And this comes at the back of Atiq and Ashraf both making claims, predicting almost the manner in which they were eventually killed. Does it not at least merit a proper inquiry, sir, before giving any clean sheet?
Nobody is giving the police a clean sheet. Please understand, you are repeatedly loading your question. Nobody is giving anybody a clean sheet. An investigation is underway. What my tweet sought to impugn, what it condemned, was trying to politicize the issue without any shred of evidence. You have some circumstances, each of which can be explained. A medical checkup at 10 p.m., so what? That's the time they were brought. They were arrested. They were taken at 10 p.m. They were the ones who walked up to the press to give an interview. They voluntarily did so. They were not pushed towards the press. And by the way, the meeting of these three people is not accidental. The meeting of these three people happened in a jail together, when they were in custody together. So, this is all twisting facts. There's an answer to all these circumstances. You can raise circumstances to suit your own theory.
Okay.
But you wait for an investigation. I'm not giving a clean sheet to anybody.
Right.
I'm saying do not condemn anybody without evidence. Don't jump to political conclusions because it suits you. Then you are being political and you're not being legal. You're not being rational. You are not basing your theories on any evidence.
Okay, you also, sir, in your tweet bring out religion. You say that the opposition has been, they in fact, whenever it comes to a terrorist or a criminal from the Muslim community, they come out in this way. They try and put a fake narrative. Being a officer of law, sir, when you bring out these arguments in your tweet, in some way, aren't you sort of justifying the murder or, these questionable encounters which have taken place in Uttar Pradesh?
No, nobody is saying that. Listen, you've got the wrong end of the story, my dear friend. Nobody is saying, I don't know why you are creating an argument which nobody has ever made. Nobody is justifying extrajudicial killings, period. But one is saying, don't jump to conclusions that in this case there was an extrajudicial killing. There was a murder, yes. Whether anybody else is complicit is at large. The question has to be investigated. Do not take it upon yourself to investigate when you are not investigating it. You are surmising, you are speculating, and you are being politically naive or too clever by half.
I'm only putting questions, which are there in public domain, which people would like some answers to. Neither you or I can or have the power, in fact, to give any clean chits or, in fact, accuse somebody. We can only ask these questions, and then, of course, there is a judicial process as well. Now, let me ask you this, sir. You call out the opposition for being for siding or creating fake narratives around Muslim criminals and terrorists. But what about the BJP leaders celebrating these killings, people invoking religious slogans, even the killers invoking religious slogan? Isn't this religion being used to send out a chilling message to a particular community? Mr. Jethmalani.
Listen, anybody who rejoices at the murder, extrajudicial or not, of anybody, right? I condemn that. Nobody should rejoice even in the extrajudicial killing of a thorough criminal. That's a short answer to your question. As far as the Jai Shri Ram slogans are concerned, there are some people who claim that on social media that there were no such slogans. I don't know what the truth is. Are you 100% sure, Ankit, that there were such slogans raised?
Sir, I'm 100% sure about what we ran and what other channels also ran. The footage very clearly marks these slogans that were chanted of Jai Shri Ram and then surrender, surrender.
Communal slogans. All right. So maybe there was some angle. Maybe they didn't like him. Maybe they thought that this Muslim mafia had gone too far. I don't agree with what they said, but they did it. I condemn what they said. If they raised the name of Jai Shri Ram before killing these people, I think it was unwarranted.
They raised these slogans after killing them, but in the end, Mr. Jethmalani, I would like to ask you, sir, the government of Uttar Pradesh and the police of Uttar Pradesh gave an affidavit, a sworn affidavit in the Supreme Court saying that it will be their duty to provide protection to Atiq Ahmed and Ashraf. This was a promise made to the Supreme Court. In view of that, they have not been able to fulfill their duty and their promise to the Supreme Court. Don't you think the Uttar Pradesh police and the government failed in discharging the duty and a promise which they made to the Supreme Court?
Well, I do not know I don't know whether there was any look, at the moment, Ankit, there is no evidence that there was any complicity, right? At this stage, only going by media reports, as a lawyer, I refuse to say there was any negligence. I will wait for the findings of a competent judicial body in this matter. Until then, alternatively, I will wait for the Supreme Court to conduct its own investigation if it does. The matter is coming up before the Supreme Court on the 24th. Until then, I will hold my hand. Until there is some body either appointed by the Supreme Court or appointed by the state government of UP, which goes into this matter and makes some findings based on credible evidence.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jethmalani, for taking those questions and explaining to our viewers what your tweet meant, in which you have hit out at another senior prominent lawyer, Mr. Kapil Sibal. Thank you so much, Mr. Jethmalani, for joining us here on Breaking Views.
All right, as legal minds continue to debate whether it is instant justice or overriding the rule of law, but the latest that we are getting from Prayagraj, Divya, is that the 3 shooters involved in this particular killing, they've been brought to the Prayagraj court. Remember, they were lodged in the Pratapgarh jail because there were safety issues, there were all these issues over security. Now, there you can see on a screen, they have been brought to Prayagraj court. Remember, they were sent to 14-day judicial custody last time. They were produced before a magistrate court on the day Atiq and his brother Ashraf were buried. They were sent to 14-day judicial custody, but what we are being told by sources, Divya, is that the police is expected to seek their remand, seek police custody, because remember, the interrogation is pending, key questioning is still pending, because remember, it is yet to be ascertained as to what their background is, who is backing them, is there any big organization or is there any larger player actually backing them, where did they get that weapon from, because remember, Atiq and Ashraf were shot dead from a point-blank range, which means that they had a very sophisticated weapon and at the same time they were well-trained as well. Now remember, the three shooters had told the police that they want to make it big as far as their criminal careers are concerned, but the police are not believing their statements because they're continuing to contradict their statements. So today is going to be crucial because the police are going to seek custody and their questioning is going to continue. Divya.
Vedant, and the mastermind behind the killing was influenced by gangster,
Lawrence Bishnoi.
Lawrence
that's right.
Bishnoi, and take us through the details, Vedant. Of everything was caught on camera, so there's nothing that's left out.
That's right, Divya. In fact, if you talk about these three shooters, they are from different parts of UP. One is from Hamirpur in Uttar Pradesh, the other from Banda, and the third one from Kasganj. So now the big question is, how did these three people come together to execute this high-profile murder? There has to be someone backing them. That's what the police suspect. Now, remember, the police are also going to talk about question them on their background, on how did they come together, and also remember the pistol that they used was is actually banned in India. So how did they actually get that particular pistol? All these
weapons
questions
that costed about 7 lakhs.
Absolutely, and all these questions remain unanswered. Of course, a high-profile killing, one of the most shocking incidents as far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, given the fact that Atiq enjoyed absolute massive power and clout as a land mafia in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj.
And breaking news coming in at the moment of Indians that have been stuck in Sudan. The government is engaging with various countries for rescue as far as the Indian government is concerned. They're coordinating with Saudi Arabia as well as the UAE. And Saudi Arabia has assured support on the ground as far as India is concerned.
That's right. In fact, our senior colleague Maha Siddiqui is joining us on the phone line. Maha, give us a sense of the extent of the operation, given that, of course, India is in touch with various countries. Indian government is coordinating with Saudi Arabia, the UAE. They have assured support. So give us a sense of the extent of the operation and the situation currently on ground.
Well, the situation on the ground continues to remain tense. This despite the fact that some of the major countries, especially the United States, Vedant, have in fact called up the two leaders in Sudan, the head of the army and the head of the paramilitary RSF, that are fighting at the moment, and the situation on the streets remains extremely tense. That is what the Indian side is also telling us, that the movement at this stage is extremely risky, and that is the reason, remember, that India had issued an advisory. The Indian embassy in Khartoum had said that people should stay where they are, they should not venture out. Remember, India has already lost one citizen when a stray bullet hit him on the way for their one life of an Indian has already been lost, and after that, concern is there with regards to the other systems. What India is doing is that out of the 4 countries that are majorly involved at the moment in getting the situation to some sort of normalcy by using their diplomatic ties, are UK, Saudi Arabia, UAE and US, as I pointed out. India is actively engaging both with Saudi Arabia and the UAE so that they can have details on the ground. If need be, Indians can be pulled out of this tricky situation from Sudan because the situation continues to remain tense. What my sources are also pointing out is that the Indian ambassador in Washington, D.C., Taranjeet Singh Sandhu, and the High Commissioner in London, Vikram Doraiswamy, they are also in touch with the host governments, that is UK and US, to ensure that one can work with the UN as well and get some sort of substantial presence in Sudan as far as this situation is concerned, to be able to ensure the safety of foreign citizens at least. Of course, the situation for Sudan itself is bad, and that is a matter of concern as well, which has been explicitly mentioned by various countries. But this is in context also that several voices have expressed concern, saying that there are groups of Indians who are stranded in Sudan. So looking at that, this is what sources have pointed out, that at the moment, this is the manner in which they are trying to get all Indians to be safe in Sudan, and if need be, then one will have to wait to see whether any process is put in place to move them out.
Right, thanks so much, Maha, for that update.
Welcome back. If you've not been able to place your orders on the quick delivery app Blinkit, that's because the company's delivery executives are on a strike for almost a week now, Vedant.
That's right. They're protesting as Blinkit has reduced the fixed payouts per delivery from rupees 25 to rupees 15. Blinkit even had to shut down some of its stores in Gurugram. Nayantara has the details.
Hundreds of Blinkit delivery executives are on a strike after Blinkit, which is a quick commerce app that promises home delivery of groceries in under 15 minutes, has slashed their fixed payouts per delivery from rupees 25 to rupees 15 last week. Now, these strikes have forced close numerous Blinkit warehouses in Delhi NCR and have also caused a 1% loss in the company's revenues this quarter. So services have stopped in many parts of the city, but these delivery agents are adamant that they won't work and met the Gurugram Deputy Labour Commissioner on Monday to put forth their set of demands. Let's listen in to what they have to say.
हमारी बिना नोटिस के आईडी 25 में कर दी गई, उसके बाद 25 में हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं और फिर दोबारा से बिना नोटिस के हमारी आईडी 10 और 15 रुपए में कर दी गई है। अब बताइए हम 10 या 15 रुपए में कैसे हम काम कर सकते हैं?
हर चीज़ में महंगाई बढ़ रही है, खर्चे भी बढ़ रहे हैं, पेट्रोल से लेकर गाड़ी का मेंटेनेंस सब कुछ महंगा हो चुका है और इन लोगों ने एकदम से अर्निंग घटा दी।
मैं 15-15, 16-16 घंटे मेहनत करता हूँ, तब मेरे 25 रुपए में जब थी तो मेरे इंसेंटिव मिला के मुझे 800-900 रुपए का काम हो जाता था। अब मुझे 15 रुपए में हो गया है, तो अब बताइए मैम मैं क्या बचाऊंगा, क्या खाऊंगा, क्या करूँगा? यहाँ तक अगर कोई एक्सीडेंट या कोई राइडर खत्म भी हो जाएगा तो अंदर के स्टोर से कोई भी मेरा सीनियर ये देखने नहीं जाएगा कि वो मर गया या जिंदा है।
So as you can see, these delivery agents are furious and helpless. Their already meager earnings have nosedived, making it impossible for them to make ends meet. So a delivery agent who was, making 800 or 900 rupees a day is now barely scraping together 500 rupees. So out of that, a sizable chunk is going to be spent on fuel and paying off loans that they've taken to buy the bikes that they actually complete these deliveries on. So if that sounds bad enough, it unfortunately gets worse. These delivery agents are gig workers, which means that they can't rely on labour codes to even ensure a minimum wage for themselves. While Blinkit has not responded to any of their demands except to address the closure of some warehouses, it's interesting to note that Blinkit, like many other quick commerce apps actually, has been running into losses, with a loss of over 1,400 crores in the last financial year alone. So at the end of it all, while many of us have grown used to quick home deliveries, very few of us know the troubles of delivery executives who are now being squeezed by a company like Blinkit in order to cut costs.